Yes, recording is on. So that is probably, I'd like to think that I get a lot of follow-up after these webinars. Oh, Jeremy, I love that guest speaker, or what an amazing feature. But usually it's just, where's the recording, Jeremy? Appreciate what you're doing. Missed it. So this time we got it, and we're gonna jump in here to, if you're watching the screen share, I'm gonna take it off video here shortly, so you don't. I know that my maybe Eric's appearance or mine's gonna distract you from the slides. We don't want to do that. We want to jump in and really talk about, this is going to be a 4-part series. So if you missed part 1, really what we covered there was the touchless side of things. I mean, you guys have seen it everywhere in ads, commercials, emails, and we connected the dots though. And we said, well, touchless service really had been there perhaps all along. And if it hadn't been, and now you are incorporating that into your shop, were you bringing it into and not breaking the customer engagement rule? I call it the #1 rule of customer engagement. And that topic right there I think it hit some nerves. I'm going to be covering that at the end of this webinar. So stay tuned through Eric, through Rob. We're going to get to some very specific examples because I touched on it. I said, don't break the rule, but I wasn't exactly clear on what that could mean, or some really practical examples that you could use in your shop today. So we're going to end with that after hearing from Eric from the medical side, and then Rob's going to highlight a product and really a process. Rob, I'm excited to hear this myself. I haven't heard it. I don't claim to be an expert. And speaking of that, as far as claiming to be expert, this whole webinar is brought to you by Aptual. That's the company I founded, but we're pretty narrow-minded over here, to be honest. Maybe as a way to show you visually, I dabble in things, writing books. That right there is something I dabble in. But really, if there's anything, and I want to show you a picture. People call me the original mobile app ninja. That's how narrowed down I get. I want to show you this. You can say it's a strength, right? See this amazing? If you're watching this, right? That's me in white right there when it comes to mobile apps. So it's a little bit narrowed down. I couldn't, if there were other things out there, for example, if there were other things out there, say medical, right? Here we go. Here's that ninja. Here's a ninja scene again. The problem is that's me in black this time when it comes to other topics, to something that maybe is not going to be the mobile app and how shops can use it. So that's why I brought you Eric today. Eric, we're gonna get you introduced here. He's gonna talk to us. I'm gonna give him kind of an interview format, go through some questions for him. And here he is on the screen. If you can see him on the video as well. He's capital and sales and marketing to do it. I mean, really, in fact, here's kind of a side note. He gave me my first job right out of college that I'd call it a job that was not working in Wendy's, I should say. I was thinking food was going to be the angle I played, but Eric pulled me into a different realm. So I've known Eric for a couple decades, but just watching his career and his career path and how he's been able to impact hospitals around the country. And right now, with Bayer Medical, we've seen him on Fox News. I mean, these guys are, we're going to get to that slide here in just a second. Let me show you this. His ventilators have been hitting articles. As you guys can imagine, COVID-19, this topic has become highly relevant, even in just our everyday conversations. So, Eric, thanks for being here with us and taking some time out of what you do and being willing to share with our audience today. So
yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. It's always fun to hang out. I know, like you said, we've known each other for a very, very long time, so it's really cool to get to jump on here and maybe help you a little bit with your project. So
yeah, excellent, Eric. Yeah, so I'm going to jump in. I'm going to kind of ask you some questions. You just go ahead and really, if you can, narrow it down to our industry if you can as you talk, but kind of describe what's going on. I'm going to kind of jump in and go, if you can, just give us a quick overview of perhaps what's going on in the hospital between the patients and the service provider as it relates to COVID-19.
Well, it's been really fascinating. So I've been around healthcare for over 20 years doing ICU design, room design setup to ventilators for the last 10 years. So I've really had kind of a real, boots on the ground experience inside the hospital. I'm not a clinician myself, but I've been in that environment working with them for, over 20 years. So the changes have been really dramatic, right? Before COVID-19, before coronavirus, technology and remote connectivity was something that was considered kind of a luxury. Only a few hospitals really dealt with it. They thought it was cool. But but they didn't really see the bigger picture of where things could go or what could possibly happen. Now, post-coronavirus and post this huge pandemic, now they realized, wow, that wasn't a luxury. That's something that that's a daily operation we need to have now. So there was already the trend towards, telemetry, telemedicine, equipment being connected wirelessly to iPads, but it went from less than 5% to now 100% of facilities realize this is not just a luxury. This is something we have to maintain our patient safety, visitors, and biggest thing is also our healthcare providers. Because if we expose our healthcare providers, then nothing works. Doesn't matter what technology we have at that point if we've already had too much interaction and exposed the safety of our employees.
So Eric, just touching on that, if I was to think of those words and we were to use them in an email or talk about them with our customer, it's really not just the customer. We're looking at protecting our employees, right?
No, it's the full circle, right? It's the full circle because if the employees are exposed and they're not able to stay healthy, then there's nobody to even take care of and treat the patient or even provide the service for those sick people. So it's a full circle thing. So whereas before, even with the ventilators, it was thought the respiratory therapist who runs the machine would have to go in, stand next to the patient, do all the changes and settings there. Now they want to do all of that remotely from outside the room. They want the full monitor, display, and even controls to be able to do it outside of the room and be able to take care of the patient that way, just to help provide protection for them. Then they don't have to spend all the necessary items of PPE and those kind of things just to monitor and do a few changes, right? So the same thing, if you don't have to be face to face with your customer, it actually provides a much higher level of protection for the employee and the patient themselves and the customer. So it's a great layer of protection.
What do you think some of the lessons that you've seen the hospitals have to learn very quickly, what do you think could transition to maybe check-in or a check-out process at an auto repair shop?
Well, it's the same thing. So, and here's one of the biggest things in the years of being in the hospitals is once they institute a policy for keeping people safe or clean, like hand washing, sanitizers at every door and every entrance, I've never seen it go backwards. So I think that's one of the biggest lessons is whatever gets implemented now, it's very likely that it's not going to unwind itself and go back to what we used to do. Not one thing has happened that has been unwound in new type of procedures in the hospital. So so this is going to be a standard going forward. So patients are now, for one, you can't even get to the hospital now. They want you to talk to telemedicine, talk to a doctor over the phone, chat with them, text. You've got to use your app on your phone before you can even get approved to come into the hospital. And then when you come in, it's going to be the same thing. They're setting it all up with mobile check-ins. So that way you don't even hand anything to a person there to check in. You're not even handing your credit card across. You're not handing your insurance card. You're keeping that distance.
Yeah, just curious here.
Doing it all with virtual.
Are those in those moments there where that interaction is happening on site? Are you noticing those are new kiosks, or are they asking the patient to do something on their own phone, or are they still having them touch a different device that other people might be touching? What's happening there?
Yeah, so it's a combination of both. Some already had the kiosks, and they're realizing, oh no, now the kiosk has to be wiped down every single time. So the kiosks got implemented for a different reason. They got implemented for, hey, this is cool technology, this is slick, this is faster. But now that there's realizing that person is touching that, and they're sick and they're coughing on that machine, and then the next person comes up and does it, they're realizing, oh, that's not as healthy as we thought it was, right? So now they're having to switch and go to mobile logins. You touch your own phone, your own device, and not this kiosk that 1,000 people touch every day.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a slow process because not a lot of them had that going into, and so I think one of the things we've seen with the ventilators is the change in technology. Everybody is now realizing they have to change, and they're all ordering at one time, which is a complete logjam of supply, technology. So some people are going to be they're en route to change, but you won't see those for a while just because the technology, the supply and demand is like way, imbalanced.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks for touching on that. I was going to ask you next. I had it kind of lined up as a question, but you really touched on just what were going to be the trends moving forward. And I liked how you said it. Well, whatever's happening now, it's not going backwards. And as you were saying that, I thought a little bit about our airport experiences since September 11th, thinking that not much of that has gone backwards. Maybe there's been a little bit, right? Loosened the strings or found a way to have maybe a VIP process or something that kind of separates you as a non-terrorist quicker. But in terms of the realms of the bureaucracy, the process, the labor, the time, whatever the technology is in place, most of that's still there in the airports today. And
Correct. So it's similar to like the VIP or the person that's gone through the extra background check. For me to get into the hospital as a sales and service, I have to have documented proof of my measles, mumps, and rubella, my Hep B, my tuberculosis shots, my tithers, like all these things that most people don't even like think about or don't go through. I have to provide this huge healthcare document that shows that I'm up to date on all of these things, all of these vaccinations, to gain entrance to the hospital. So, and every time every time they add a new requirement, they never unwind it. It just adds one more. I just have to keep stacking on top, and nothing has ever backed up on those.
Well, and on that point, everyone listening to this point, this is where I'm getting a little bit excited to think how we can use a kiosk, but technically escape a kiosk at the same time. And we're really looking into leveraging that geolocation check-in on a person's personal device and see if that could be a method to escape the kiosk route without having the multiple touch points by multiple people. Just to have that one extra step where you could still have the tech, you could still have that streamlined check-in, but not have to really share the touch points with other customers, or maybe your employee forgot to wipe it down in between time. I'm watching the Costco cashiers for you guys. They're sanitizing everything between. And Rob, maybe you're going to touch on that. Maybe you've got a huge account with Costco, but we'll get to that in a second here. But Rob, you're still with us, right?
Yes, sir. I'm just kind of soaking it all in right now, buddy.
All right, excellent. Yeah, anywhere, Rob. I'm about to tee you up. So Eric, I thank you for sharing all of that. Would you kind of have any final advice for someone like maybe Rob, right, who's got an excellent product used by repair shops around the country, maybe not coming from the hospital side, or maybe even someone like myself who builds apps for auto repair shops? What is it we can be talking about to help in the processes to keep both employees and customers safe? Kind of give you the final word on that.
Yeah, I think taking the extra steps for protection of your employees and your customers. No one's ever going to get upset or accuse you of doing something wrong. And I think taking those extra steps just really helps in everybody's comfort level. It helps in the patient, helps in your customers, your families, the loved ones you have back when you leave your employment, go back home. I would just encourage you guys to take those extra steps. You run the risk of more illnesses and turning away more people by kind of just barely doing good enough. And I think in a big way, the respiratory and the ventilator industry for a long time, we were just happy with, and the hospitals were happy with good enough. And then this pandemic happened and we realized we weren't good enough. We weren't doing things well enough. We weren't sanitizing. We weren't looking at all the touch points, and we weren't utilizing the technology that was already available that could have made this much quicker or faster to be able to manage patients. Was right there. We didn't do it though. So I think that would be the biggest takeaway is good enough is not going to get us through the future and get us through the potential of other things that could happen. So taking that extra step it just shows how much you care about your customer, you care about their safety and your employees, and I think it's a great thing to do.
Yeah, and Eric, I just want to say, in perhaps a humorous way, a special thank you to Vire Medical for supplying the extra ventilators, pumping up all of your manufacturing supply, and really reaching hospitals I don't think you guys ever thought you'd sell to, and getting a whole lot more ventilators out there. Now, if it's me, if anyone's listening to this, if I'm in there, I mean, nothing against Dyson. I think they make great vacuums. But if I'm in ICU, I wrote it down, guys. Ask for biomedical ventilator, please. So, all right, that's going to be my request. So, just wanted to say a shout out to you and your company, Eric. I'm going to go ahead and Rob, if you're right here with us, really thanks, Eric, for touching on that point of the safety to the customers and employees. That's really the point of this webinar series. If we were to pick one point, there's many points we can talk about. And like Eric said, this isn't going anywhere. It doesn't seem like we're reversing. So just preparing for that, having a process, having technology, having people trained. In fact, I have a business coach who's lined up for part 4. Who's going to talk about the training side of things. And really, if any of these processes are in our place, what can we do to make sure the customer service is there to support what we're talking about? So at this moment, we're going to have a special product highlight. Rob, I'd love for you to jump in here. Solid Start. It's a female-owned company. They've been around longer than I've been alive by 1 year. So way to go, Solid Start. And this was a really just impressive timing. I thank God for this one. I've been talking with one of the best franchises in the country, and I got introduced to this gentleman, Rob, who has a product that I know actually very little about. So I'm going to be just as listening in as all of you are to what Rob has to fill us in with. And Rob knows that this isn't about, we're not just here to sell a product today. This is really to cover it from an informational perspective. So we're hoping this feels no hassle. Rob, you're not going to hit us up with a big invoice, are you, after this?
No, just you, Jeremy. No one else.
Oh, just me. Got it. Okay. I'll figure that out later. All right. So, Rob, there it is. I've got True Brand on the screen. Can you tell us a bit about your background? Just briefly, your background, your position in the company, and a little bit about Solid Start.
Yeah, not a problem. First of all, I want to thank you for everybody for participating, and definitely thank you to Jeremy and Steve for letting me be a part of this as a guest speaker. I've actually been doing this particular industry for going on 12 years, 6 years in logistics, and the other 6 years has been in inside sales. So I don't necessarily do a lot of traveling. I'm more on the inside, kind of reaching out to customers, checking on them, letting them know what we have to offer. Is kind of what my role is. I've enjoyed it. I love working with people, but to get down to the meat and potatoes, especially in our industry, we took a drastic hit, as I'm sure all you guys can relate that's in the industry, automotive industry field. This was just a blindsided. We supply and manufacture a full line of chemicals, but once this pandemic and the COVID-19 hit, we were at a standstill. Our business took a drastic hit, so we had to come up with something. We had to come up with something fast. And this leads into our highlight of our product, which is our True Clean Germicide product line. At the end of the day, obviously, this is going to be designed to kind of keep us afloat and also help other businesses out there, but more so than anything is to keep the employees and customers safe. That's the whole point of this. We've got, like I said, a different variety of lines that we use. Each product contains 70% alcohol, which meets and exceeds the CDC standards of fighting the COVID-19 on hard surfaces. So right now, as you guys all know this in the industry, the no contact rule is in place. I mean, a lot of people won't even get out of their vehicles. They're even scared to come in the shops. But thank goodness we've been seeing that the states have been slowly starting to open up. And then obviously by keeping the customers informed, letting them know that we can sanitize the inside of their vehicle, disinfect it, it kind of gives them more of a comfort feeling knowing that, hey, if I do come in here and get my oil change, at least we know that, everything's going to be safe and sound. I'm not going to have to worry about catching anything. So this is kind of where this product leads in. Hopefully it kind of helps all the people out there in the market industry today for us.
Okay. Oh, Rob, that's a great start. I actually didn't understand that this product. So the product itself, this was a recent launch at your company?
Yeah, we actually launched this, like I said, as soon as the pandemic hit. Like I said, a lot of people can vouch in the industry. I mean, everybody took a drastic hit because people stopped going to the shops. They stopped doing oil changes. So we had to come up with something fast that's going to honestly keep everyone safe to make them feel comfortable coming back out and wanting to get their services done on their vehicles.
Okay. So what a product like this one, Rob, what is it replacing at a shop today, if anything?
What it's replacing is, there's a lot of cleaners that's on the market. You can even get retail, so to speak. Lysol. But there was a point in time where you couldn't get sanitizers, you couldn't get Lysol. Let's face it, you couldn't even get toilet paper. That's how bad it was. It was pretty rough. So these particular products, they're not retail. They're actually designed, especially with the alcohol. There's no ammonia in there. There's no bleach. It's strictly alcohol, some water, another ingredient to really fight against what we're dealing with. Not just the virus, but bacteria, mold, mildew. The whole 9 yards. And this is what we kind of launched out and came out with.
Okay. So what have you seen so far since your launch of this? Can you take us through if an auto shop wants to talk about having a no contact experience that they want to talk about as being safe? How would they use your product? Say they were going to do a valet pickup and delivery. Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, most definitely. So if they were doing that in this particular case, which, that's kind of what's going on right now with customers just dropping the vehicles off, the particular product that's got a spray trigger on it, that's actually designed to spray down all the high traffic areas of the vehicle, door handle, steering wheel, the shifter knob, because let's face it, everybody is in and out touching things left and right. So by doing this to the customer's vehicle before and after the pickup and the drop-off is done, the customers can feel safe knowing that their vehicle has been pretty much sanitized and disinfected by using this particular spray bottle.
Yeah. Are you seeing any shops leaving kind of a calling card? Sort of, you think we've got the mats on the floor to show you that we didn't get your mats dirty, right? Sometimes there's something under the mat. I haven't figured that out, but you know what I mean? It's there. Are you seeing shops leaving a calling card that this car has been, A, B, C? Are you seeing that?
I have seen that in some of the shops now, and it's funny that you bring that up, Jeremy, because we're actually in the process of creating kind of like a tag or a card that we're going to be able to leave in the customer's vehicle stating, hey, this has been sanitized and disinfected by our product. So that's something we're almost at the very near end of coming up with. Again, it's just reassurance for the customers to know that they've been their vehicle has been safely disinfected once they do get it back.
Okay. So with that type of promotional material, where do you feel there's a line, and maybe there is one or isn't one, of liability?
That's actually a great question. Obviously, liability, you're going to see that no matter where you go as far as and we're hoping in the end that our customers, which is the lubes and the shops, they're diligently actually spraying down the vehicle. So hopefully there's not liability, but at the end of the day, if a customer feels that, they're upset or it wasn't done right, in regards to True Brand and our products, we stand behind it at 110%. So no matter what the outcome, whether it's bad or good, we're going to make it right one way or the other with the customer at the end of the day.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's probably the assurance that I guess I would want to feel, buying the product if I was going to have it be included in advertising. This is where I get a little bit interested, and I'm about to transition to this, Rob, where what we're seeing, say, Domino's or Jimmy John's, the word that they're using, does that imply some type of liability? And I have yet to have that answer. I'm hoping in part 3, I'm going to bring in an automotive technology expert, and I'm hoping by then we also find that specific answer. If we're going to be talking about no contact and touchless, does that imply that if you got COVID-19 at our shop through a delivered vehicle, what kind of liability is there? And I think the lawyers are going to have a lot of fun with this, unfortunately, and not picking on lawyers, but wherever the opportunity is, just finding a way, at least if we can share that information. So if anyone listening has that answer, maybe you've already pursued that answer or maybe involved already, I'm definitely open for comments and guest speakers on that topic. So if you've got someone you feel you would trust and can recommend our way, I'm going to be trying to find that official answer, at least from one attorney or one perspective to help our audience know what we can talk about and how we can use these words. So, Rob, I know you're a very busy guy, just kind of slammed with people looking for cleaners today. We can go through some more of these points. I'm going to be covering some more of these with our automotive technology expert in part 3, kind of the live web chat, perhaps how you can use DVI tools, things like that. But So, Rob, if you had to run, I think we all respect that and understand that. Thank you for supplying our industry a great product. But would you be okay with, at the end of this, I had a slide put in there with your email, with your phone number, with shops reaching out to you if they just had questions about maybe a comparison. Maybe they've got one they want to compare, or maybe they didn't know that there was a product like this. Could I share that at the end?
Oh, you're more than welcome to. Any questions, email, phone call, they're more than welcome to reach out to me anytime, Jeremy.
Okay, I've got that in there. Okay, I'm going to transition in. I know we are running through time. In fact, we usually schedule these for an hour. I'll do my best. Maybe, Eric, if you're still hanging on, you can keep me accountable to ending at the 12:45 spot, just to give us a little time to hit the unrecord button. So we're going to jump right to the part. Thank you so much, Rob. Thank you, Eric. We're going to jump into this moment here where we can talk about those industry examples, and then I'm going to attempt to connect the dots very quickly. It's going to be noticeable anyways, because of my third example is an auto repair shop right here in my town. I'm here in Nampa, Idaho, and Mike's Auto Clinic. We don't do business with them. In fact, I don't know the owner. I assume his name is Mike, but I'm a marketing junkie, so I get as many emails as I can get from anywhere, and this is one of the guys, and we're going to go through just real quickly what's being presented as what appears to be of value to the consumer. So we're just going to jump into that. Here's the first one. This one has probably arrived in my inbox every day, and I still haven't unsubscribed. Right? The verbiage actually said in the email, if I got close, right? With our contactless delivery, you'll safely get pizza delivered to your door. And I can't imagine. I'm already looking at that going, wow, they really did claim the safe word. So, safe as in I'm not going to get food poisoning or not going to get COVID. I don't know, but I think that this is interesting. We're already hitting on the liability a bit. So, but nonetheless, the point is, and I'm thinking this is where they're running with this, because this email keeps getting sent. Anything that has touchless or contact in the email subject title, I'm guessing as a marketing guy, they're going off open rates. That's why they keep sending that. Something must be triggering the audience for this type of campaign to keep running. And so, of course, I got that note. That's the keyword that perhaps they're running with. They've got it advertised everywhere. Most food establishments are talking about that word. We're hoping our food is safe. The next one, this one, I thought they took it a little bit further in terms of what they were asking the customer to do, which I enjoyed. It's one of my little areas I get a little fanatical about, which is when we use the word free or when we're offering some type of value, how are we asking our customer to receive the value? Are we really asking for anything, or is it just everybody gets it? No problem. Just, hey, we just hope to see you. We're desperate for your business. We hope we can see you again someday. And in this case, Jimmy John's is notoriously freaky fast. And even in their email, they give their direct action immediately. Order now. And they even bring in a nice little screenshot to display what they're hoping the customer, just to kind of show them that, hey, this is easy, right? We'll leave it at the door. Go ahead and order it right now while you've got your attention and you've opened our email. So this is some great marketing from Jimmy John's. I love what they did here. The part, leave delivery at door, that to me stood out as some of the verbiage I guess we could talk about in a valet pickup and delivery service, if that's what we were to be offering. That one, I feel like we could transform that word a little bit. I think we could make an improvement there if I was working with one of our clients on how we phrase that. But nonetheless, again, it's the delivery. It's the act now. This is going to work. This is going to get someone to use your new value, if that's what it is. And maybe Jimmy John's isn't doing anything different. I don't know their back end. This isn't a promotion for their sandwiches, but I do love the Ultimate Porker number 17. I like that one. It's not bad. All right. Here we are with Mike's Auto Clinic. So this email showed up. Now notice, why free? I had to pull this in. This was the email that came. Again, I've got this one more than once. And they talked about COVID-19 in it. That was the terminology. They even phrased, their wording in the subject title was even stronger, not just safer. We're eliminating the coronavirus. I thought that's pretty aggressive. So thank goodness Mike's Auto Clinic is on that. But nonetheless, I'm convinced if you needed auto repair and you were on their email list and that verbiage came in and you had been cautious to get back to doing business, this might have worked for you. So I'm thinking this is probably well done. I'm just going to pick this apart a little bit and say, why free? Free, this seems like a great moment if you're adding value, which you are. The customer might be in a state of fear. Unfortunately, that seems to be pervasive. Whether or not the science, I'm not going to get into the science on coronavirus and masks and all that. There's real deaths. There's real sickness. We know that much, and then there's much to be determined. So I understand there's many sides to be on the line. I don't want to attempt to know that answer, but if we do operate with something that we're claiming is new or different, like we've never said this before, businesses have never said eliminating coronavirus before, that's a great opportunity to add in some value to your customer. So when I say why free, here's their example, by the way. They had this attached to the email. They even use the word total sanitization. And Rob, can you clear that up for us if you're still with us?
Oh, I'm still here, buddy.
Oh, yeah, Rob, you notice the word they use there, total sanitization. I've seen three words: cleaner, disinfectant, and sanitizer.
Yes, sir.
What just from your perspective, what seems to work with the consumer, and what's the liability there on what word to use?
Well, what's really working and getting people's attention from my standpoint in our product, and what we're seeing on the industry is disinfectant, well, actually all three, so to speak, because what we're facing right now with this pandemic and this virus, people are still scared to go out and really do anything. So by just mentioning those words, it kind of draws attention in, but the liability comes into place and I'll be the first to say with our particular product, we do have an EPA number. We're in the process of actually getting it tested and EPA approved. So technically, we cannot call our product a disinfectant or a sanitization product. We call it an antiseptic multi-surface germicidal spray. So there's a lot of liability. If you're claiming that you're sanitizing a product and it hasn't been not EPA approved, then you're definitely walking that fine line of liability that can turn into a nightmare if you're not careful on how you word stuff. Okay,
how it sounds like you're strongly recommending that if people check with their vendor, then right, whatever they're using as a cleaner, and then however they're sending out the email, check that they've picked the right word, right?
That is 100% correct, yes, sir.
Okay, all right, thanks, Rob. I'm glad you did stick around for that because I had that in the back of my brain. When I saw that word again, this could be key. So thanks, Rob, for making that happen for us.
My pleasure, sir. My pleasure.
Yes. We'll jump back in. So this is what was requested after part one is when I had said, I talked about it, kind of probably too lightly covered it. I said, don't break the number one rule of engagement. I didn't give the most practical examples, and I've hit the record button this time. Right, Eric? I've hit the record button, and I'm going to give two live practical examples, so bear with me. I'm going to go ahead and leave the video on, so just don't be distracted by my glamour and good looks, and let's get to a screenshot of what we're going to pull up for how we're going to do this. We've got I've got those pulled up. We're going to flip through to a text VIP. So what do I mean by don't break the number one rule of customer engagement? It's really, if we're talking free, let's get an action in return. Jimmy John's hit this a little bit. It wasn't bad. I always just say do one thing extra more than you might not have before. So if it was a click through to an email and they call a phone before, add an extra step, something. Because they say it takes 12 positive experiences to offset one negative. So any opportunity, that's why I call it an engagement rule, we really need to build 12 positive experiences, even if it's digitally. And with post-corona now, more experiences are going to be digital now. There's less face-to-face, more digital. So find these opportunities where you're getting your customer to engage with your brand and take that maybe an extra step they wouldn't have before. Because remember, you just talked about this amazing new free service, whatever it is, in this case, sanitization or cleaner or eliminating a virus. So I put this in there. We're going to go ahead and test this out where you could set up whatever technology you got running in your shop. I'm sure you have a custom keyword reply tool. Make sure you set up a keyword that, got your dedicated local number to reply back. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what this might look like. I think I pulled up I've got a Skype channel going here, so just pretend we're on a cell phone, and we're going to be texting. So we're the consumer. We just got we're the vehicle owner. We just got your advertisement. We want that valet pickup and delivery service, let's say. We want that VIP perk of everything taken care of and us feeling safe. So we just type in VIP. We're texting it to the number recommended. We hit send. And if you have the auto keyword reply tool set up, see if I've got it going on this side. There it is. So both the shop owner, Skype often takes a little time, but there it is. Skype just kicked in the automatic reply. So in our case, as our technology works, the advisor could have seen that come in, right? We saw Captain America send us a text. He sent VIP. We didn't have to do anything. That was the customer taking the engagement step. No extra training on your staff, right? They just sit there. Our system sends out the automated reply. Now the customer feels like they've got their extra value that they wanted. So they took an instant action off that email, instant action off that event, whatever it was. That's one. I like this example probably in today's environment we're in, where maybe you don't have all of your customers with your app yet. This one might be the one to do, right? Because you're probably going to get a higher response rate to this. It's easier to text VIP than it is to do what I'm about to show you next. Not quite as good, not as valuable long-term, doesn't impact their total visits and spend as much, but it's still a positive experience to get that instant reply back. You've got that VIP coupon sitting on your phone. So it's not bad, but let's jump to example number two, which I've labeled example number one. Content editor, oh, that's me. I get that next time. So example number two, activate promo code. Now this one I enjoy more. Of course, I'm biased. I'm the mobile app ninja, but this one to me stands out because now it's even more than a text, right? Where they've got their 100 conversations going with friends, grandmas, and their kids' teachers, and lost in that text channel. Why don't we get our brand on their phone, and let's get them to now feel VIP and activate a code. So in this case, I've got a code that was pre-set up inside this. We're inside a custom mobile app for an auto repair shop, where the consumer got that email, got that push notification in your app, or maybe they got your text, and it said, hey, Mr. Customer, go ahead and activate VIP2 for our special valet service. And when they do that, when they follow that up, they're inside your shop's app, they put in that code, and they hit activate. Boom, right? There they go. Now, not lost in the text channel. A little bit harder, right? Maybe they hadn't downloaded. Maybe they'd never taken that step before. They hadn't downloaded your app yet. Maybe they hadn't signed up yet. So a little bit more, but you get more in return. And that's the point of the number one rule of customer engagement. Whatever it is that you're exchanging, attempt to receive equal exchange in return. So I would say for a top-notch, you bought an extra cleaner product, you're taking more time, maybe you're driving, you're taking a driver to their house. These are all amazing services you're offering to your customers. Let's get an equal exchange in return. Jimmy John's does it. Krispy Kreme's does it. Starbucks does it. We can do it too. And so right here, there's that coupon sitting in there. They've got this. And of course, live time, the advisor can see the same thing. So if the advisor's on this side and they pull up Ninja, who did this, let's type in Ninja, find that customer. The advisor, say the customer gets lost or forgets access to maybe their phone, or it doesn't happen, not likely, but you get the point. The advisor can also find and track exactly what was activated. So on both sides, both the consumer, the vehicle owner can see it, and then your staff can see it as well. So that this value is not being given away for free. This customer is, they say this is surprising. I said this in part one, but I stand by this statistic because it impacts so many things we do. 67% of customers will switch brands. They'll switch loyalty based on a mobile coupon. And when I first read that, I thought the game was over and there was nothing we could do. And then it hit me. I had an old business partner back in 2006. This is before iPhones. He said, Jeremy, the best immunization against your competitor's coupon is you have to have your customer have their own from you already. He said it better. But the point was it is an immunization. If you can get them to take that action and have that coupon sitting on your brand on their phone, they're immunized against the next competitor coupon, because in it comes, maybe theirs was a free VIP something. Well, that maybe, if you're top of mind, it reminded them they already had yours at your shop, and they were a couple clicks away from live chatting with your team or requesting an appointment. So it all goes hand in hand. You don't have to use an app. There's a lot of ways to do this. Give out a gift card. Maybe you have a great member program already in place. Find a way. Just what we advise, find a way to incorporate these excellent new things that we're being asked to do in the industry to keep our employees and customers safe. Find a way to get that engagement going. Get those positive experiences pumping in, day out with your customer. And, if you can, get it automated. This is hard to ask our staff to do all these extra things. So find a way where it's mostly the consumer doing it and not your staff. So you're not, you don't want to get them too upset. Mostly where we really want the consumer taking the steps, not your staff. So I will kind of end this portion of the webinar there. I had this slide. We got Rob's approval for this. If you have any questions at all, I'm going to leave this slide up here just for a moment. Rob, thanks for being available. We've got your cell phone number and your email. If you're still with us, jump in if anything's wrong. Apparently our content editor's got problems. How are we looking on the cell number?
Everything looks great, and again, I appreciate you letting me be a part of this. And if anybody has any questions or something I can do to assist them, please reach out via my cell or email anytime.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Rob. And Eric, same to you as well. I hope that you've actually been very generous with your time. You've volunteered to join us on part 3 and part 4, just to kind of keep us up to speed on the medical news. So thank you so much for that as well. Yeah,
my pleasure. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I did mention this entire webinar series, for those of you that find us on, say, LinkedIn or Facebook, yes, we do something as well. We're not just an information provider. And really the question has become, do we need an app? Does any of this lead to needing an app? If so, we've got the process very easy. It's not as crazy as you think. It's not Fortune 500 million dollars, years out. We've got a very simple tool there. Take you about 5 minutes. And you could walk through and figure out for yourself what it might cost to get your shop a mobile app and get yourself in the iTunes and Google Play stores. I want to thank you all. This is Jeremy calling it a wrap with the COVID series. I can't wait for part 3. I've got the date here somewhere. Oh, it is. Here we go. The date is June 10th. It'll be at the same time, 12 p.m. Central. And I'd mentioned we've got an automotive technology expert. He's going to be covering it from a couple angles, talking about data analytics from the parts side, and then also from the software side, using the existing software you have. I can't wait. He's got over 25 years in the industry experience. He'll be part 3. So if you haven't signed up yet, oh, wow, thanks, Chuck. Thanks for that encouragement. I've got your chance to get your invite to part 3 and part 4. Just go to appfuel.com/webinars. Okay, talk to you all soon.